Now, Challenge 1, the long journey.
Thanks for joining us. We have a fantastic panel to discuss our first topic, the long journey. It is tough to be an entrepreneur in general, but the sales cycle are even longer in the automotive industry. Our panelists face this obstacle firsthand. Moran, the CEO of IRP System, Hagai Zyss, the CEO of Autotalks, one of our portfolio company, and Taigman Koren, Chief Business Officer of Phantom Hub, our partner, which naturally sees a lot of companies which tackle this issue. So my first question to you, can you please elaborate on this long journey challenge and what it takes to be an entrepreneur in the automotive and mobility field? I will start with Hagai.
So, pleasure to be here. Thanks for hosting us. We are proudly members of the CRADLE, and Hyundai is one of the portfolio companies. So you need to have the stamina and persistence. I would say this is the beginning. If you're in for entering the automotive market, you have to have patience. If you don't have patience, don't go in to begin with. But if you do, you're in for the ride of your life. It's a fascinating and ever-changing environment. And I think we recently a part of a revolution in the industry, the whole transition in the industry to more electrification, autonomous, safety, all the things that are contributing to a huge window of opportunity for startups to actually participate in this innovation cycle. So I think it's a fascinating journey in general, and we are proud to be part of this ecosystem.
Moran?
So pleasure to be here. I think if you want to be a startup in the automotive industry, you need to consider safety. It's critical in our business. I agree with Hagai, it's a great timing to join this industry because it's reshaping and reconstructing, and there are tons of opportunities for new technologies to be integrated into this platform that is being redefined. I think this decade is the best one. You need to think about scalability. You cannot build your business case on a niche application because automotive industry works in high volumes. And you need market validation. It's okay if this market validation comes from other industries. It is even in many cases appreciated by the automotive industry. In our case, we started from the aerospace industry and then expanded to the automotive industry, but be prepared to validate the technology. The distance between a good idea and a product that's integrated into a vehicle is very long.
Thank you. Dana?
Just adding to that, I didn't go through the journey by myself, but I hear many startups as part of my job at Quantum. What I do hear is that to reach mass market in this industry is really a very, very long journey. And for that, if you have good investors behind you with, of course, deep pockets, but also that they understand that the industry has a long journey and they push you into the right directions, this definitely can help you overcome these challenges that we all see on a daily basis with meeting startups.
Thank you. What changes do you see in terms of OEM openness for outside innovation? And have you identified any shortcuts for new ventures?
So for many years, the automotive industry was structured with a very clear supply chain. Thanks to electrification and all the digital technologies that are enabled on top of the electric platforms, this supply chain, I would say it changes from a vertical supply chain to a circle, to a round supply chain. And a new ecosystem is built. Everybody already understands that, and that's exactly the shortcut or the slacks in those traditional supply chains that startups could penetrate through. The transformation is so fast, especially driven by very aggressive regulation for reduction of CO2 emission in Europe and in Asia. that the OEMs and the traditional tier ones cannot keep the pace, and everything has to be developed and validated much, much faster. This is what we as small and agile companies are very good at, doing things very fast. And this is exactly, I think, the best entry point, and also what causes the traditional players to become more and more open, to embrace innovation, and to try to speed us, in a sense, to learn from us how to do things faster.
Thank you. Hagai, same question.
Yeah, so continuing what Moran said, it's I think there is an openness. As we said, there is a huge transformation. I would say the whole introduction of technologies is now going much faster. I think the market was disrupted not just because of electrification, but also because of safety. We do things, the car does things for us today that in the past we never dreamt of, and it's in entry vehicles, and not just in premium. So we have safety now, autonomous braking, we have radars, we have cameras. In the future, cars will be connected to each other, so they exchange information, the whole V2X revolution. But essentially, they're open-minded to partner with people who bring value. And people, I mean companies who bring value. So they want to learn, they understand not everything is done. But you have to have, I would say, two split personalities in one company. One personality drives innovation and moves fast, and the other personality makes it high quality. And it's a very, I would say, it's a huge challenge in a startup for in any to scale up from and to keep both, to be both innovative and fast moving, and on the other side, don't fail, right? You know, in automotive, if you deliver something, it has to work. If it breaks the car or participate in safety, it must always work or must always be available. If it doesn't, then you're out. So you have to maintain both mindset in the same company, and I think when they see that you are both innovative and can be relied on and high quality, you have an entrance. And of course, the fast proof of concepts, to partner with them on early stages to fine-tune the product is always critical. And for that, we have companies like yourself or hubs like yourself that help tune the product.
Exactly. Yeah. Just adding to my colleagues, your smartness. I mean, innovation programs all over. I mean, OEMs and tier ones are searching out, expressing, and explaining exactly what are their needs. You can just see through research and identify all the opportunities that OEMs and also tier ones are looking. And I think that has changed a lot. I mean, at the beginning, they were more of looking into innovation programs, but they didn't want to express and explain exactly what are their needs. It was more of a secret, and then they open along the way. But I think that these days, we definitely see more and more, openness and explanation about what is the need, what exactly, in which stage they are specifically at, and what exactly, innovation or technology would add to their journey. And this is something that is really new, and it's super excited. And I'm happy also to work in this decade, as you mentioned, and to be your partner as Cradle, to do it together.
I would say the big transformation is actually driven because center of gravity of the car is changing in the metaphoric way. It's not only about the chassis and the metals, and even not on the internal combustion engine. It's now about software and electronics. And those are not legacy expertise areas for the automotive industry. This is why we're so needed to bring cars into a very digital, data-driven world. And this openness started as soon as the big industry players realized that.
Yeah. It's the entire journey of the consumers that are changing. This is why, everybody has to change according to the new needs that are, just raising here. I agree with you.
So Dana, the next question is for you. I'd like to ask, if you identify new opportunities in our domain, what are the next revolutions you have identified? Of course, as part of Quantum Hub, we are seeing a lot of startups every day, like us. So what is your take?
I think that we started to just mention it. I mean, again, the consumer journey is definitely changes. We see a change from, owning cars today into more of a shared ride and shared mobility. And this, of course, it's new needs that are being developed. So I think Dr. Huang also mentioned it in his presentation, talking about, the next generation of mobility platforms, how to help, OEMs and Tier 1 add much more value-added services. And this is something that, again, startups are the best, partners to do these kind of shortcuts and learn, as add-on services that the OEM today is heading towards. So I would definitely look at the next generation mobility platforms as it's a big words, but I think that Dr. Juan mentioned the specificness of and this is definitely revisionizing everything that we are doing in this industry. So
yes, we will address it in the next panel as well. So if you were to start your startup today, considering everything that you have learned over the last few years, the long journey, what would you do differently, and what tips would you give to your younger version? Moran.
I would say don't be afraid to get a no. Sometimes you learn the most from your mistakes and from your failures. Be very optimistic, stick to the good cause. In our case, we're really driven by cleaning the world from pollution, and it's such a strong driver and motivator to our team, to our employees, to our investors. So we know we need to be very resilient. Sometimes it was a little hard to clear some of the noise and to stick to this goal, but I think if you know you're doing something good and valuable for the society, for the humankind, and you can materialize it, you can productize it, you can reach cost competitiveness, which is critical in the automotive industry, you will succeed.
Hagai?
Yeah, I would start by saying that you need to be absolutely, 200% optimistic that you can succeed. Mm-hmm. If you don't believe with all your heart that you can, it's such a long journey. I always analogize this to a roller coaster. There are so many ups and downs as a startup, and there are probably much more ups and downs in automotive, because you think you're in and then it's just a POC, and then they say, no, it needs to be delayed, we're not ready, and then you have a huge up, and you think you're on the horse, and then something else. So but as long as you're on the trajectory up and you're a strong believer in what you do, then you will for sure at the end goal succeed. And you have to be very, as I think Moran said, you have to be resilient and persistent. And we have the stamina, I call it, as a team to get a punch, and then the next morning come up again and say, okay, so something didn't work, so we start again. Or in our case, we had a different technology that was challenging our legacy, and then we said, okay, we do both. And you have to always change. And if you think that you have won it, think again, because tomorrow something else will come, and you have to be very ready for those ups and downs, and always interact. I think the most valuable thing that I can say to people who start, get feedbacks fast, because you interact with an industry that, yes, they need you, but you also need them. Why? They have been doing cars, I know combustion engines, but those cars drive for 5, 7 years, 10 years. They don't fail generally, and that's the expectation. And so they've learned a lot in what it means to productize something. And that knowledge is something that is really needed for you to tune, again, cost efficiency, go into mass production, quality. And if you learn from them, I think they now are ready to open the doors to work with younger companies and to get to, I think the most proud thing we can do is to be signed that we are inside in every car, right? That we prevent accident. And I really like Moran around the environment. So we, on the other side, save life. So it's the same. You have to have a great cause. And I think that if you have a great cause in the company, the people believe in it, and you have a team that can, be there for the long term, which is a must. So
Thank you very much. It was very, very interesting. I know personally the journey that Autotalks did firsthand, and I guarantee you that what Hagai said is a living proof that it's true. And thank you so much.
thank you so much, Eli, for having us.
Pleasure.